And now, Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester. With me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blank. And Tyler, it is a windy Sunday in early May. I saw a bright yellow tornado go down my street as I dropped Freya off at the grandparents'. I am itchy. Everybody down here is a little sneezy, but it's so nice outside otherwise. The weather is beautiful. How you doing today?
Well, first, I thought that was going to be like an innuendo to me and my fashion choices.
No.
Today, I realized
as
I met you on screen that I'm rocking a lot of yellow today. It's the first episode of May, Brad. I'm excited. I know we have a lot to get into. Speaking about pro wrestling and pop culture, it was a good week. I'm grateful. I'm happy to see you as always. What's going on? How are you?
I am good. It is the busiest time of the year. From April to the end of the year now, it's nonstop. I believe there are, if not 3 days of events in the building, in the auditorium this week. Plus I have the timed practice test on Saturday for my AP Psych kids to lead them into the following Friday where they have the actual psych test. So lots going on. Very busy weekends from here on till the end of the year. Graduation is coming up. It is wild around here. I'm ready for the summer, and people keep going like, "Oh, summer's gonna be great. Summer's right around the corner." And it's like, it is. There's a lot to do before then. It's not, wow, I'm on break already. That's not how this works. There's a lot to do, but blessed to have so much to do. Really happy that I get to do it. Really happy that I'm not coughing and wheezing as much as I thought I would be right now. I'm telling you, man, that yellow in the air, all the mesquite trees, the Palo Verdes are everything is just producing pollen around here. And it's like watching it swirl and then clump into a pile right at your doorstep is certainly something.
It's the swirl for you.
As soon as this is over, I will be changing the air filters. I'm getting the new ones up there. They're like heavy duty allergen removers, and it's
the deluxe version at the store.
The Merv 13s, I believe they are. Trying to take care of that, trying to mitigate it as much as possible. It's just it's itchy around here, and I'm the least affected in the house by this stuff. The least affected, and I'm over here going like taking everything in me not to go, oh man, I'm itchy. I'm glad I thought ahead and bought these filters, because it is May. We're heading into June, and then we have the kind of the doldrums of sports for about a month where there's baseball, and that's it. And I have a hard time getting into baseball, Tyler, because Tigers usually play around 2 p.m. So when am I going to watch these games? They're always playing when I'm at work, or by the time I can actually watch, I don't want to watch anymore. But they're giving me a reason to want to watch. They have a pretty darn good record this year. They are on fire. I can't believe it. But before any of that gets super interesting, Tyler, the basketball playoffs are here, and the action is heating up on Prize Picks, the best place to cash in on your favorite sports. Cash in on the basketball playoffs with Prize Picks. Don't miss your last chance to add your favorite players from the court to your Prize Picks lineup. Whether it's points, rebounds, assists, take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. Turn your playoff hot takes into tickets to basketball's championship series. Starting with the play-in round, every lineup you make on Prize Picks will enter you in the Takes Two ticket sweepstakes, which could get you a +1 VIP trip to the ship. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the ice in your Prize Picks lineup. Whether it's goals, points, or hits, take your pick more or less on your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. Every Tuesday, Prize Picks will discount several projections on the board, usually by 15% to 25%. And on Fridays, it's Flex Friday. Make sure you opt in and tap the checkbox in your lineup builder to be eligible for the projected play. Choose squares for any game on the board. If your lineup does not win, you get your net losses back in the promo funds up to your promo limit as soon as the lineup settles. Gimmick Infringement is rocking with Prize Picks, and you should too. Prize Picks, run your game. I'm sad that I can't read Cade Cunningham in copy anymore, but the future's really bright for my Pistons. To take it to 6 against a really, really good team. I'm okay with that. I was sad, happy for Mike Steph. Sad for Brad Winchester, but hopeful for the future. Maybe they make a move to try to pick up one of the 800 all-star players that'll be available in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot.
And I don't mean to put this out in the ether because I sincerely hope Devin Booker will be a Phoenix Sun for the rest of his career. If there is any team, any franchise that he could ever depart Phoenix for, it seems like a given that it would be his beloved, city of Detroit, state of Michigan, and going to the Pistons. Not that I want that, all of our Arizona listeners, but you have a very bright future with your Pistons, man. They're scrappy. They're good. They got lots of young talent.
Yeah.
And I think they really, I think they really discovered something this year. This experience, I think, is going to be super valuable for them. And then heading into next year and beyond, and who's to say that they're not a legit threat in the East? Yeah,
and they had some injuries and stuff. Isaiah Stewart, and it's going to be fun to watch. I always hope it's going to be fun to watch. I was really hopeful with like the Blake Griffin era of basketball. It was like all these players, these name recognized players were there. Blake, Derrick Rose, like all these players were just sort of, the fact that you had to say, oh, that's right. Because the next sentence is, I forgot about that.
Yeah. That was like 8 seed was the ceiling for those squads. This squad, sans Devin Booker, because Devin Booker's not leaving Phoenix, so I did not already say that. This squad has a much higher ceiling. Cade Cunningham is legit. You got the other Thompson brother there. Jalen Duren is a problem. Like, come on.
Hardaway. There's
Dennis Schroeder, fantastic pickup for them.
Yeah.
They got the right coach.
Yeah.
I can see right now Mike Steph typing in the comments to add his right now, guaranteed he is typing his thoughts, and maybe he has a different take. I don't know, but he loves you, so I'm sure he'll provide a nice balance for us.
I don't know. I sent him a video about the Jets, so we'll see. Tyler, we got a lot to get into. I have a feeling I know where this is going to go, so I tried to tweak it. The WWE. I'm excited to get your question here because a lot of things happened outside of the ring this week. I know we're going to get into it. Hit me with your question.
Yeah, all facts. Brad Winchester, you know where we're starting. The 2 most important words on gimmick infringement.
Steph watch.
Steph watch. Steph watch. Our NXT Women's Champ, Stephanie Vaquer, did it again. Brad, she wrestled on Raw for a second straight week, defeating Ivy Nile. Vaquer is featured prominently on the poster for NXT Battleground, the next PLE at the end of the month. I actually think it's going head-to-head with Double or Nothing, so we'll probably end up catching the replay of that. But regardless, very happy for her. She also reached 1 million followers on Instagram. We called this weeks ago. Her star continues to ascend, which makes me very, very happy. However, it wasn't all good this past week. Another set of WWE superstars were released on Friday. Braun Strowman, Shayna Baszler, Dakota Kai, Jakara Jackson, Cora Jade, Gigi Dolan, Kaden and Katana, Eddie Thorpe, and others are looking for new wrestling homes. My question, what are your thoughts on this news, and how does it impact, if at all, your excitement for Backlash this weekend?
Doesn't really impact it at all. Most of the talent I want to be really surprised by any of it. I think the one that I thought was probably this one might surprise you, maybe. I don't know. The one that shocked me the most that got released was Cora Jade. That was when I thought they were investing in long term, and maybe it's because she's been injured so often. Maybe they just went like, well, I don't know if we can rely on her body to hold up. I don't know if that's what it was, but that one surprised me more than anything. Shayna's been there forever, but as soon as Sonya left, I was like, man, they haven't really been using her. They have her come out every once in a while, but she was doing stuff at NXT. Really surprised by that. Braun Strowman had a thing and then just kind of disappeared. He hasn't been around in a long time. So doesn't really affect it in any way. And it seems like it wasn't this particular departure seems like it was pretty amicable. It was sort of like, yeah, we're done. Shotzi we're just not going to renew your contract, which they haven't been using her. So again, it makes sense. And I correct me if I'm wrong. I thought she had gotten injured and had come back off of that, and then they're just waiting for creative. I don't really know what happened there, but there's not a lot of people on that list that I was like, oh man, they're going to have to change everything around this. They have a loaded roster. Aleister Black is back. Rusev is back. Stephanie continues to climb. There's all this
Mariah May could be coming in sooner than later.
Right. There's just all this talent that's there that, while I would love to see Mariah May continue in AEW, I get it. Like, I get it. She seems very well suited to go over to WWE. Right now, I think she makes the most sense in NXT. And I could see that changing later. But like, who she would face on the main roster, I'm less interested in than who she would face on the current NXT roster. Steph watch. Between her and running it back, I'm pretty sure she and Julia had some matches when they were both over in Stardom, New Japan. So there's a lot of, and actually I have no idea if she's ever faced Io Sky or Kairi Sane. I would imagine if either of them, it would be Kairi Sane as the most recent stint. But yeah, I have no idea what to expect. All I could say is that this doesn't affect my viewing or my desire, anything for Backlash at all, because none of them really had anything to do with any of the storylines or the talent that are involved right now. So it's just sort of, it sucks. I feel for the whole group of people that lost their jobs. That part really sucks, and that's the most important part. But in terms of just consuming content, it doesn't affect it. This is not a Vince firing.
Right. Braun Strowman's had a fascinating career. Two that stick out to me from this list, arguably the two most high profile names: Braun Strowman, the ebbs and flows of his run in WWE, and then Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
It seems like we have the Shayna Baszler conversation at least quarterly here on GI about, man, I think back to when she was in NXT and she was tearing it up.
Yep.
And I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, since she had that vampire turn, like low-key like Sinners before Sinners hit theaters, many years before. This was the Pirate WrestleMania, the Pandemic Mania. She had that match.
Tropicana, was it?
Yeah, she had that match with Becky Lynch for the title. I believe she lost, but then she became a vampire and bit Becky. And since then, it just hasn't, for me as a Shayna Baszler fan, it just has never approached the highs of that NXT run. And maybe you could chalk it up to those who were in charge back in 2020, different regime than who we have now. But Braun Strowman, Shayna Baszler, I'm very excited to see what's next for all of these talented superstars. Brad, Dakota Kai has really developed a groundswell of support.
Actually, I take that back. That's probably the most shocking.
That's very shocking. Yeah. And but you said Cora Jade. She was just in a program with Masha Slamovich.
Yeah.
The WWE, NXT, TNA partnership. She was just over there prominently over the last couple months. That surprised me as well. But I think I agree with what you're about to say. Dakota Kai, incredibly surprising. I'm glad we at least got to see her when we went to Raw last year. She's great.
I forgot to even bring her up because it's like, oh yeah, why would they release her? It didn't even enter my mind. So when I saw it, I was like, this is wild, because she was in that IC picture for a while.
Yeah.
And
she almost won the thing.
And people wanted her to win the thing.
Yeah.
It was like, that's her time. It's coming, all of these things. And it's like, all right, well, never mind.
Yeah. Kaden and Katana are dope. I think they bring a ton of value. And again, if we're going to invest, and this is for all wrestling companies, I actually would argue, I know we've been a bit critical of TNA as of late. We'll talk about TNA later also, but if there's any company that's consistently invested in women's tag team wrestling over the last decade, TNA is probably sitting in the driver's seat in that conversation.
100%.
If WWE is serious about investing in their women's tag division, I know Liv Morgan's off to shoot a movie, and it looks like her and Raquel are going to be a bit inactive as the champs. Kaden and Katana are such a fun duo. I really enjoy their work. I think they're going to kill it if they go on the indies, or if maybe they're poised to sign with TNA. I think they would be front runners to defeat Ash and Heather by elegance. And I don't know what that's like now, Brad, with the TNA partnership solidified. Is it possible that some of these superstars end up in TNA? Is that totally on the up and up? They can sign with TNA even though they were just released. I know Indy Hartwell just signed with TNA. So business wise, I'm curious if that official new partnership with TNA, if that plays a role into how some of these talent may be impacted, no pun intended, with potentially signing. Because to me, it seems like a lot of them would thrive in TNA. I mean, Braun Strowman would be the biggest name in that men's division the moment if he signs with TNA. Again, Kid Nakatana would be dope. Dakota's great. Eddie Thorpe, I think, would be a fantastic addition. I think you could have a Steve Macklin-like presence, who's the new TNA International champion. So I'm really excited. I think these superstars have to be super motivated, and I can't wait to see what they do in 30 or 90 days. It's just, it's interesting when, and granted, all of these companies are businesses at the end of the day, right? But they often will tout, we made record profits. You and I joked on air weeks ago about when they make the announcement at the PLE, this is the highest grossing weekend ever. Yeah. we spent rent money on this show because we're a bunch of marks. Yeah. It's just that juxtaposition of, okay, you do that, but then at the same time, you trim the roster, and I know you're thinking about shareholders and what have you, but to me, I already told you I was a bit out on Backlash to begin with. Once, very predictably, Logan Paul was mentioned as the next challenger for Jey Uso, so I shouldn't be in my feelings about that, even though I am. And then Pat McAfee gets the Gunther match.
I was already kind of like, I'm not all that interested.
Can we just put those on the pre-show, and then I can just tune in for the main one?
It has to sting to see two not wrestlers get spots on this PLE amidst a bunch of wrestlers getting released.
Yes.
If I'm one of the talent,
put it perfectly.
I'm probably not feeling great that Pat McAfee is getting the spot, but I just got let go for my job, or even the people that are still there. Pat McAfee is getting that spot. It has to be it. Listen, man, I understand completely why it's happening. Backlash as a PLE, completely not important at all. If you ask me to name as many PLEs as I could, I don't know that I get to Backlash at all. Just naming them. I probably would, because I'd go in order, but like, nobody really cares. Nobody's like, oh man, I can't wait for Backlash. No, it's WrestleMania. You care about WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. You care about like Money in the Bank, and then you like your big one, Survivor Series, and
typically for Backlash, because it's so close after WrestleMania, and in this case it's literally 2-3 weeks after, the main event finish is usually not in question. Yep. We know the champion is not going to drop at Backlash, and in this case, I don't think anyone outside of St. Louis and Randy Orton's close family believes that he has a shot of winning this. Like, John Cena did not win it at WrestleMania just to drop it 3 weeks later in St. Louis.
No chance. No chance.
So we know the finish. I mean, it's going to be a spectacle. It's going to be the last time these two duel. So there's a lot of intrigue and cachet just based on that. These are two future Hall of Famers, but typically Backlash also has that, well, the storylines following the show, is it really going to be anything super substantial?
Right.
Last year was in France. I think previous year or two before was in Puerto Rico. So that's already enough reason to tune in, enough buzz. But the actual matches, okay, let's throw Logan Paul in the championship match. Let's throw Pat McAfee. We know it's going to be on SportsCenter. We know people are going to tune in.
On their own platforms, they're going to promote it.
Just for me and my own personal taste, these two guys do nothing for me. And to your point, you have a roster full of incredibly talented wrestlers who I believe are deserving of those spots. But if you draw, and certainly McAfee and Paul have that skill. And they can go in the ring, right? Both of them they're not putzes. Like,
no,
they've had fun. They've had fun matches, but Gunther is for sure beating him. And I hope Jey Uso defeats Logan Paul. There's no way Logan Paul becomes champ this quick. That would seem absurd to me.
No, and Logan Paul is very good in the ring. And Pat McAfee I'm kind of curious to see what they do with him.
Me too. When was his last match? Against Baron Corbin? 2 years ago.
Was it Corbin?
There was the Adam Cole match in NXT. There was Baron Corbin at either WrestleMania or SummerSlam. Has
I
there
know
been
it wasn't
another
Baron
one?
Corbin. It was
Did he face The
Austin. It was
Miz?
Austin Theory, wasn't it?
Theory. I think you're right. But it's been a minute since
But
we've seen McAfee
yeah,
wrestle.
but he did the Austin Theory match. It was the exact same match as the Adam Cole match. Like up to the
Right.
finish was the same.
Right.
Everything was exactly the same.
Yes.
So that's why I'm curious to see what they do. Are they going to do the exact same match again and just have him do the exact same things? Because they're like, well, we know you can do these things, so do
Yeah.
the exact same things. At
If he
least
had to
with Logan
destroy
Paul, it's
wrong,
been
if he had to destroy wrong Gunther, I don't know what I'm gonna. I don't know what I'm gonna do, Brad.
Yeah.
Might just have to take a break.
so it's yeah. So we'll see what happens. Logan Paul, I know he'll go in there and wrestle, and it'll be interesting and different. The storylines are just, man, I don't care. I really don't care all that much. Not when you have somebody as like popular right now with fans doing absolutely nothing in carrying a cross. That dude built his brand back up, and they want him on TV because every time he comes out, it's like massive cheers and massive pop. I think I can't remember the last match he wrestled. Was it AJ?
Probably weeks ago.
And then there was some like dark stuff or main event. I can't even remember. And then he did Bloodsport Mania weekend, but we'll talk about that later. Tyler, my question for you. Well, first, obviously releases are the biggest topic. So I'm sure there are fiscal reasons that the releases happened on Friday, but they happened before SmackDown. This allowed the talent to piggyback off of the SmackDown audience on social media enough where people were talking about them and not the show. I was so locked in on that, I forgot about anything that happened on the show, to be honest with you. So because we really enjoy most of the talent who were released, and we always want to see people find success, my question's simple. What has been your favorite way of growing name recognition and building hype for talent on social platforms? I should say released talent. Talent that are in the wind. What's your favorite thing that you've seen talent do?
Someone who'd been released and then built their name back up.
Yeah, think of Matt Cardona, or
he's the first person,
or even like
to think of.
just building a brand based on socials, like Danhausen, or
sure,
there's so many different people.
Yeah, absolutely. So Matt Cardona, of course, is up there. Even Steph
Ruby.
Ruby, yeah, of course. I was just thinking about Ruby Soho the other day.
Yeah, me too.
Actually.
Yeah.
Miss her. Ruby Soho, even Steph DeLander, who was teaming with Matt Cardona for a long time on the Indies, she built up her name. I think she was actually just down the road at the Wrestling Guys store. Shout out to Tony and crew for a book signing. She wrote a book, which is amazing. Danhausen, as you said, what a great entrepreneur. Yeah, I'm really eager to see. I don't think we've spoken about him lately, actually. Cedric Alexander.
Yes.
I'm really eager to see the summer of Cedric, if you will, and what he's going to do in terms of building up that name ID and reminding folks that he's spectacular in the ring. I'll give you one more. Maybe this is actually my official answer. Mustafa Ali. Granted, he signed with TNA now. He's opened his school in Chicago, but he did a phenomenal job when he developed the campaign. In Ali We Trust. I love the vignettes he shot. I love the merch and just the interaction with fans and how he was developing a new character. To me, these are all great templates for what any of the names we mentioned before can do. I didn't even mention Jakara Jackson. I think you gave her a nod.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That was also surprising to me. I thought for sure her and Lash could be future tag team champs. I really enjoyed their work together. I think she could also be a great candidate for building her identity as a singles wrestler now. So these are all, I think, great bases for what these released talent could implement on their own moving forward. And luckily, we live in a time now with social media, with more wrestling companies than ever. Hopefully,
just thinking that Ashe.
Hopefully, no recession inside. Yeah, Ashe, absolutely. GCW, the list goes on and
Big
on.
weekend.
Yeah, of course. So that leaves me hopeful and excited to see what all these folks are going to do. I think Eddie Thorpe as well showed a lot of promise as a character in NXT, and I think he's going to shine wherever he ends up. How about you?
Yeah, all the things that you said. I think all of those were great examples. I can't think of anybody else right now off the top of my head that I love, but I think part of it doesn't really count because it's through a promotion. But I had seen Jay White wrestle and never really caught much. Like I said, I don't watch New Japan shows that I didn't really know what was going on in there. He's in the Bullet Club. I don't really know what's happening. It was his promos after a match, but it was like the post-match press conference promo, not I'm on my own kind of promo. But those promos allowed him to just sort of show his personality and his character. And I think having those things available for people would be really great. Or even like Karrion Kross, Killer Kross, whatever he goes by. I think there might be changes coming there. He went viral over Mania weekend when he went in there and basically said the stuff about Logan Paul getting a spot at Mania and all these things, and he spit dragon fire. And obviously it was like, this is a character thing I'm working. There's no chance he didn't have that pre-approved, but it was great. And it was enough where it's like he showed up on like it wasn't after a match. It was just he crashed a presser, did a thing, it went viral. I can't wait to see somebody like Cora Jade. She's not Cora Jade now. She's back to what, Elena Black?
Elena Black, that's right.
What's that look like after having experience? So
yeah, she's got to be motivated. You have your dream for several years, and then they say thanks, but no thanks.
Taking pics with CM Punk in the back, and then having Punk comment with encouraging words, I thought was really cool on her post. What's Shotzi Blackheart look like? Is she still Shotzi Blackheart, or is she something else? Because I think Shotzi Blackheart she owns. I think just Shotzi is what the WWE has. Because remember, she went to the main roster and she was just Shotzi. Yeah. So I think that she might still own Shotzi Blackheart. Kind of like Io Shirai had to go up. She got called up and became Io Sky.
That's right. Yes.
It's probably something similar there, where NXT, it's probably still more local, we'll call it, versus WWE owned for some of the talent. Cora Jade seems specifically like a WWE invention. And that was back in the Sky Blue Darby Allin phase of Cora Jade. I look like Sky Blue, but have a skateboard like Darby, but couldn't skate. I always thought that was funny. She had a skateboard, but couldn't get out.
It was very funny. That feels like a lifetime ago, but that was really a whole recent era.
Yeah.
The origins of NXT 2.0. And she, Dara says she put in time and work to develop a main roster presentation. And now for her to get that news, I am also very excited to see what she does.
Well, and as a woman in talent, like I can't imagine what the pressure is to go like, well, if you want to go on main roster, you physically have to look different. And
let's talk about it.
The pressure for plastic surgery and stuff.
Yes.
I don't know how much she spent to specifically enhance her appearance, very much for a WWE main television product that probably felt like this is the best way for me to get it, like go up in the industry.
Right.
And then to have to do that, where you basically went, I'm going to change the way that my shape is. Forget like I put in the work to become stronger or grow muscle. I'm going to change my physical appearance through surgical means, and then have them go, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
To me.
And that's something that I would imagine dudes just don't have to think about. Like you said, it's more about, okay, I need to hit the gym, I need to lift heavier weights. But for women, there's such a pressure. And for the longest, you and I have talked about this on and off here, for the longest, there's just been this sort of glass ceiling of, okay, once you hit 34, 35, your usage it's came and went. And luckily, it seems like we're not exactly in that era anymore. Right. But seemingly there is that pressure for women to look a certain way if you want to reach the highest of highs on Mondays and Fridays. And Cora Jade's an example of that. Just from our couches, it seems like that's an example of she put in work and time and the like to have that presentation that could work on Mondays and Fridays. And she's really improved. She's grown on me in the ring and as a character.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
And she's not, women aren't the only ones that had probably felt pressure for this because, COVID happened and Roman came back with new teeth.
That's a great point. Yeah, he did. He looked much different before the pandemic.
Yeah, yes. I actually, at first I was like, ooh, this is a lot.
And then it kind of grows on you.
If they hit you with a black light, they're going to see you in space. But then it flash forward to now, and I can't imagine him without that change.
Yeah, and we know, and I think he may have said it or teased it in the Vanity Fair interview, amongst other things he said in the Vanity Fair interview. Hollywood certainly in his future, you know, next 5 or so years. I forget the exact time frame he used, but we know he has ambitions to have opportunities in Hollywood, which again, that's part of the presentation. When he came back, it's like, oh, this guy looks like he just, and I'll defer to you. This is more your expertise, Brad. It looks like Roman Reigns just stepped out of a Marvel set. Like, once he's set all the WrestleMania records, I think we're going to see him pop up on a Max series or on the big screen.
Well, I mean, again, not to harp on this point, but like the Rock in the I'm wearing like the big baggy jersey in my wrestling match phase was because he had surgery to reshape his pecs because he was a little.
Wow, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah,
I remember that era.
Yeah, so that was all because he was still recovering and he had scar tissue and stuff.
It's a cosmetic business.
Yeah, it totally. So, you know, and obviously that was a long-term payoff for him. So it's not like it's only affecting the women, but I named the kind of couple examples I could think of in the men's division outside of, no, I broke my whole face in an accident. Now I need to have it cosmetically repaired. It's not, I have to do it because Vince wants me to look a certain way. However, there was a steroid era. So there, all of those things are, it is a cosmetic business. You are on television with barely your clothes on. So I totally understand that part. It's just, I'd like to think that we've moved as a society away from having to go like, no, being in shape and not passing out in the middle of a match is more important than the cosmetic thing. I don't think we have, but, cause I was, yeah, there's some wrestlers from the 80s and 90s that had unbelievable physiques that were not easy to look at in the face.
Right.
There was a lot of people that were like, whoa, hey.
But when you're on the poster, right? Like who's going to be on the poster that will elicit?
But then you lean into it.
That will elicit fans saying,
Luna. I'm thinking Luna right now. Luna Vachon.
There you go.
Like,
I want to pay my money, my hard-earned money
jacked.
to see this person
fight
someone else in the ring.
Yeah. And they did. And they still did it for Mankind. And they weren't going out of their way to go like, I can't wait to see his abs.
Right.
It was, no, his character is awesome. So
yeah, it's true.
It's that, and that's the importance of having all of it. It bums me out when I see talent put in all that work and all that time and get injured and then get released. Mm-hmm. And it's always, you know, grind and work your way back up. Maybe it just depends. Depends on the talent. Because Braun reinvented himself, got shredded, came back, got released again. The real question is, do you think he starts that company back up?
Oh, CYN, Control Your Narrative, Part 2.
Yeah.
I sure hope not. Remember EC3? I remember when EC3 was one of the hottest acts in the industry. What a time.
Yeah. Speaking of time, it is time to move on. Tyler, we have a what happened here. I've heard interviews about this interview and I have not yet seen it. So we're gonna cue up the music and I'm gonna let you tell the folks all about it. Play the music. It's time for what happened here.
What happened here?
Where to begin with this? I have not as many notes as I usually do for what happened here, Brad, because I am still processing this story. It was a week ago, actually just a few hours before we recorded last week, in which Bill Belichick's interview aired on CBS Sunday morning. This is maybe the first CBS Sunday morning reference in gimmick infringement history. So Belichick, longtime NFL coach, widely considered the greatest coach in the history of the sport. Feel free to push back. I know you just might, Brad. But undeniably uber successful with the Patriots. He is now entering a new phase of his life in many different respects. Occupationally speaking, he is heading into his first year as the head football coach at the University of North Carolina. He is also on a book tour. He published a book about his career, and he has a new boo. Brad, in case you haven't heard, the 73-year-old Belichick is allegedly dating, or not even allegedly, I'm pretty sure they both have confirmed it in their own words, 24-year-old Jordan Hudson.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why these two are the subject of what happened here is the aforementioned CBS Sunday interview. Brad, it is 8 minutes of sheer cringe, if I may use that word. First of all, cosmetically, I never thought I'd say these words. Bill Belichick, to an interview that he was given advance notice for, is wearing a distressed sweatshirt. There's a hole in it, intentionally. Content-wise, in this interview, things really went south. Well, first he says it was a mutual decision between he and the Kraft family to let him go from New England. People are like, well, was it really mutual, or did they kind of let you go because you were struggling? But the part of the interview that's getting all of the headlines is when the interviewer for CBS Sunday Morning asks, how did you and Jordan meet? And then Jordan Hudson, who is now moonlighting and as his PR agent, is seen in the foreground and interrupts and says, we're not answering that. We are not discussing that. And Bill Belichick just goes with it. And then you have New York Post headlines claiming that Jordan Hudson has now inherited a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio. And there are so many different directions in which we could take this conversation. Brad, I'm not sure which one is the right or less problematic avenue. I'm going to ask you this. If you were maybe Stephen Belichick, Bill Belichick's son, or you just have Bill Belichick's phone number, he's your homie, are you reaching out to him to check in? Because I don't know if this is Bill, blink twice if you need a situation. Maybe they're just in love and we should celebrate that. But it seems pretty jarring that we're in this place with Bill Belichick, does it not?
It's really strange when you think, oh, this guy is dating somebody that their difference in age is greater than my entire span of life, and I turned 43 in 20 days. It's one of those things that this is the America of double standards, because you know that people are celebrating this, and by people I mean men, as a win for Bill Belichick, going, good for you, good for him, those kinds of things. And if it was a 73-year-old woman dating a 24-year-old man, people would be questioning what's going on here. Is this person being taken advantage of? Is this... So either she's a gold digger, and yes, the song is in my head now too, or they're in love, or we don't know what's going on and they're just really just partners and they're close, or something else. Maybe there's something in the middle there. Maybe there's a friends with benefits thing going on. All I know is that we want to know, because
that's WB Jones.
Yeah. If Josh Allen, if he were still single and he was found to be dating a 73-year-old, just looking at the expression on your face that just happened is kind of what I feel like is going on here.
The
like,
fact
if you
that it's
flip
Belichick, of all potential coaches that we would have nominated for who would be in this position, this just seems like so far from the image of Bill Belichick that we've known for the hoodie, the cerebral, the
what does Bill do during his summer?
Review plays.
No, this goes sailboating out in like Nantucket.
Oh, does he? Oh, wow.
It's exactly the kind of guy I would expect it. Rich white guy from like the rich northeast part of the country, like doing rich white guy things. Of course, he's dating a 24-year-old.
Did you see the Instagram post as well that Hudson put on her page, where it's effectively supposed to be Bill Belichick sort of going fishing at sea, and Hudson is a mermaid, and it's like, yo, he caught me, I'm a mermaid, and we're... No. It's just giving Black Mirror, Brad. I don't know if they're popping up in season 6 of Black Mirror, but this is a story that has really captivated not only sports but entertainment media, and it's probably going to be that way for the rest of the year. Do you think Bill Belichick coaches a game at UNC?
I don't know. But are you aware of the investigation and the public emails and all that stuff? Okay, so there's way more about this than you I think you realize. So
yeah, I just want to talk about the mermaid post.
No, he had basically said specifically he doesn't want one of his sons, I don't remember which of his sons, don't bring him up in the pressers, Like, I don't want his name to get brought up. I think he's trying to distance himself as Bill Belichick's son and let him stand on his own merit. I don't believe it was Steve. I think it was, I can't remember what the other son's name is. Chris. We'll go with white guy named Chris. I think that's probably it. Or Christoph, one of the two. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know she had emailed, there's like nothing nefarious and nothing like dirty or anything on there. I think they were just like, well, what are the emails that are going, because it's public record, because he's doing it through UNC and they wanted to see what was being sent. And I know she had done stuff either on his behalf or to him. And there was some stuff in there they were looking into. I think that he'll end up coaching. I really do. Unless the university finds something and some reason to say no, because there's a lot of like public scrutiny here. There's no chance, 0% chance that they didn't think there was going to be public scrutiny, that a microscope was going to be hovering over the university, and that attention would be drawn to the university. Attention they want for the university. So unless Bill decides to move on, I think he's coaching.
Me too. It's going to be fascinating. Now, does it last past year one?
Probably not.
We shall see.
Maybe two. How long did Dion last?
Oh, he's been Jackson? There. He's heading into.
No, he's at Colorado, but he was at Jackson.
Oh, Jackson State. He was there for a good 3-4 years.
I was going to say. I thought it was less than that. I thought it was only a couple, but three sounds right. Yeah. Maybe 4. Because he had said like, oh yeah, I'm never going to leave here. This is my place. All that. Now he's at Colorado State.
Money talks. Yeah. You know how this goes.
Let's see.
I want to say it was 3 years though.
2020 to 2022.
Wow.
Yeah, so 3 years.
Wow. Okay. There you go. Right on.
2021, 22. Yep.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. That sounds right.
We shall see. Something to keep an eye on.
So I'm thinking less than Dion. That's
yeah. I just don't. Listen, Brett, we've had situations, I know certainly in my own life and friends, where you see a new relationship starting and you know from jump, yo, this is not going to end well.
Yeah.
I'm going to be tuned in for all of it, but it's not going to end well. I think that's a fitting way to describe what we're seeing here with Belichick and Hudson. We shall see.
I wasn't sure if you meant Belichick and Hudson or Belichick and UNC.
Both.
Well, both. Okay. Yeah. All the above.
Both.
Secret option C. Yeah.
All the above.
Yeah. All the above and none of the above are the only other options. All right, Tyler, let's get into AEW. Hit me with your question.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. First, 2 shout outs for early Double or Nothing predictions. I want to give a nod to George Romero. He is going with Jamie Hayter. And then big shout out to Mo, the Mojo King, one half of 19 Media's founders. He is picking the CEO, Mercedes Moné. We shall see later this month. And then also one more shout out to George. He is going with Will Ospreay, but he made it a point to say he will rep his Hangman Adam Page tee at Desert Diamond Arena for Double or Nothing. George, Mo, we appreciate you both. And thank you, all of our listeners, for joining us. As always, please like, subscribe, share. Please leave us a comment. If you're here on YouTube, we want to know your predictions. We want to know your thoughts on Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson and what we are about to talk about. Brad Winchester, AEW. I want to remind you of a day not too long ago when 4 guys were prominently featured on weekly AEW TV. Darby Allin, Jack Perry, MJF, and Sammy Guevara. They're also known as the Pillars. Now, the latter won a 4-way match on Collision. You were my go-to source for Collision this weekend. Thank you for that. And MJF seems determined to join the Hurt Syndicate, which I know you have thoughts on. Outstanding tea, by the way. Shout out to our YouTube viewers. We haven't seen Darby or Perry on screen in months. Now, we've entered a new era of AEW, and therefore I believe it's time that we nominate 4 new members of the roster to become an updated version of the Pillars. 2 criteria for you. This isn't male exclusive, and your picks cannot already have held a singles title in AEW.
Well, okay.
Who are you nominating?
I got nobody right now.
Would you like to hear mine?
Yes, I would. Like, I can't think of anybody that's on the roster right now that I'm like, that one that hasn't already had a thing.
Yeah, a singles title so far.
Okay, singles AEW title?
Correct.
Not ROH on AEW TV title? That they won on AEW TV title?
No, it has to be an AEW championship.
And not hardcore or not FTW?
Correct. I'm gonna let you cook. You got this.
I can't remember who hasn't. I don't remember who had what belts. There's too many goddamn belts on this show.
We'll have the production team fact check you. We're good.
Oh, I don't know. Speedball.
I like Speedball Mike Bailey. Okay,
it's been there for 8 minutes. So
yeah.
I don't know. What do you got?
Come to me. No. This was a rare instance where I actually prepared for the possibility of you asking me. So here are my 4 that I'm nominating. I think you'll like this list. Queen Aminata.
Okay.
We have a segment for 75 care. We may have.
I know you said not, and I always go men's first because it's easier harder to find the men's.
One, and with Queen, you would think, okay, well, she's been around for a minute. Has she held a title? Maybe in ROH? To my knowledge,
that's it. It's like I don't know.
I know that she definitely has not had one in AEW thus far. So my 4, Queen Aminata. Kyle Fletcher has not held a singles title yet, and I think this dude is for sure going to be a future world champion.
Okay, ROH, but not.
Yeah, not AEW proper.
Because he was he TV champ? I think.
Yeah, that's right. Good call. Yeah. Good call. Yep. Thank you for that.
That's why I'm like he held the title. I just can't remember.
He did. It speaks for itself. The gear, the little point gimmick, like it's just all working for me.
Yep.
My other 2, Megan Bayne.
Yeah, that's.
I don't think I need to offer any explanation there. Nope. And then finally, this one may be a little bit dicey with our audience. I got to go with Hologram, man. I love me some Hologram. I want him to be in a meaningful program, but not only the in-ring work and the lucha libre magnificence, if you will, but I think this is someone who could really captivate younger audiences. And if we continue printing those masks and getting some tees, to me, Hologram in this quartet could provide something totally unique that is totally AEW. I think all 4 of these talents represent AEW and the vibes you want to give it. Okay, here's what we present that's a different product. To me, all 4 in different ways showcase that. That's my new set of the pillars.
That makes sense if you're going to go like people that are on the rise that are
yes,
we'll call them homegrowns.
Yes,
because otherwise I'd be like, I'm shocked you didn't say Ricochet. Kyle Fletcher went in as not really a homegrown as a singles talent. Yes, and that's only because Mark Davies got hurt. Otherwise, he'd probably still be doing United Empire stuff.
Yeah, and obviously Megan Bayne has had a storied career on the Indies before popping up, but I had never seen a Megan Bayne match. I'll call myself out. I'd never seen her actually work until she pops up in AEW.
No, you're the 2 women that you named. Yes, those are the 2. Those are the 2. I mean, I could also go Sky Blue. I know she's close to coming back.
Yes.
But I don't put her in the same category as the other 2. They're
it's different
somewhere else.
Yeah.
At least those are the 2 that I think like main title for sure.
Right.
Where Sky Blue, I could see her taking TBS.
Right.
Or even going in and doing ROH gold. Because Billy Starks is somebody that I put on that list too, but she's an ROH talent. Kinda. Sometimes she fights champions in AEW. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know why. I don't know what's happening. So Billy Starks would be another person that I'd want to put on there. But Hologram's a really good one. Beast Mortos is too. I think Hologram makes more sense to build around. Kinda. What character do I build around? I don't know. Because there's nothing there at all. There's just Mask and Glow, or Beast Mortos, where there's Growl and Mask, and both of them, I don't know anything about them. I can't build around anything because it's like, what do you guys want? Like, why do you care about this? I don't know anything about these people, these characters. So I would want more, but it's really hard to argue against any of them. Everybody else that I'm thinking about has had a singles title, most of them TNT, is the only pillar to not hold the TNT championship, Max. And he's also the only pillar to win the big belt.
Right. And he was international champion for a minute, then dropped to Will Ospreay.
Yeah. Because Sammy was TNT a couple of times, babyface, and then heel turn with the naked with Tay stuff.
Right.
That was like, everybody was like, all right, this sucks.
Yeah.
And then they just,
that seems like so long ago. Remember we even had the Pillars match. Speaking of Double or Nothing, Double or Nothing 2 or 3 years ago. I really enjoyed that 4-way. That was like, oh man, this is something as a AEW fan I've wanted for a while now, but it just seems like a totally bygone era at this point.
but Sammy was also beefing with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page at that time.
I miss Scorpio Sky.
So do I.
When I was thinking about him the other day.
For some reason, I wasn't paying attention when Reach for the Sky, boy, and Mark Briscoe came out.
you thought that was Scorp?
Well, they both start with Reach for the Sky. Both songs.
That's
Reach for the Sky, boy, is Mark Briscoe's, which makes me go, I don't know. Maybe we got to change that.
What are we doing in Sandy Ford?
Yeah.
I've never been there. I'm not making accusations.
Our chicken's a metaphor. Because Scorpio Sky comes out too, and it's just Reach for the, and then it's the music drops.
And he's healthy by all accounts.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're not using that man.
He was. We could have a whole episode just
great character, charismatic, can go in the ring, should be your top star.
An original
in that conversation.
An original pillar, original OG tag team champion with Frankie Kazarian.
Yes.
Frankie Kazarian now main eventing
SSC.
TNA pay-per-views. I miss Scorpio Sky. That's all. So I'll just repeat myself.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So, man, it's really hard to find women that are in the mix that haven't won gold.
Julia Hart's won gold already. Krista, Willow.
But Harley Cameron has not.
She has not. She was an honorable. She is an honorable mention for me.
She's OLI outside looking in.
Yes.
She's got to be up there for me. Anna Jay. Yeah, she hasn't held gold in anything, right?
She's been
not
in
even
ROH. Mariah May, and she's been in.
And she was on TV this week.
She's been in the company for
several
years now.
She just sort of like disappeared, came back, got killed, like nailed Megan Bain, and then got no sold. That was kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's Megan Bain. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Okay. I have nobody else to add because I can't think of anybody that hasn't had gold, and the people that I think of that have had gold have had it in ROH, and I'm confused. So I love your pillars. Let's go with that. My question, or I guess my statement is, I just kind of love first to know your thoughts on the Collision venue, because we're talking about that, or your thoughts overall about the Owen. But Tyler, the Hurt Syndicate, I had to wear my Hurt Business tee today, but the Hurt Syndicate turned down MJF once again because of Bob. And then Bob got in his face, threw MJF in the corner, was busting through his dress shirt. Just insanely large arms, this man. And basically said, if you want to impress me, you need to hurt people. That's what we do. Hurt somebody to impress me. Tyler, who do you think MJF is going to hurt in order to impress Lashley?
I fear Hangman Page is the answer. But the issue, and I've largely enjoyed the Owen, by the way, a potential issue I see with it is regarding timing and how the finals finished several weeks before Double or Nothing. As we record, Brad, it's May 4th. Double or Nothing isn't until the 25th. So My first inclination is, it has to be Hangman Page storyline. That makes a ton of sense. But I don't know that we're going to wait nearly 3+ weeks for MJF to actually do something dastardly to someone. Maybe he beats up people backstage, and that's just kind of leading up to the ultimate crescendo of he interferes at Double or Nothing. Let's say cost Hangman and Will Ospreay wins. But if my prediction is true that Athena interferes in the women's final between Jamie Hayter and Mercedes, I don't want to see both Owen finals end in a nefarious way due to interference.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Hangman Page, but I suspect that it's a bit too obvious of a call, that there has to be another route, and frankly, a more expedient route. I don't know that it makes sense for him to attack Hangman Page this week or next week, because we should be building to Ospreay versus Hangman. I'm just confused at where we're at with the Hurt Syndicate MJF storyline. I thought they made it clear to him. I'm pretty sure MJF told him week 1, yo, Max, the way to impress these guys is to actually beat people up, not just the cars or the women, which I don't know if we really talked about that at length, but that felt like kind of a relic, that segment. I'm just confused at where we're at. I love all the ingredients. I love all the parts here, but where are we going with this storyline? I certainly hope the means will justify whatever the end is going to be. I'm going to stick with Hangman Page, but I'm not necessarily saying that with my chest, unfortunately. I don't see what other route. Is he going to attack Hologram? Is that the Hologram program that puts puts us on the map?
Yeah, I got nothing. The only thing I can think is that MJF goes, I know who it's going to be. It's going to be you. The lights go out, and then the Pinnacle reforms or something. Maybe
Okay. They attack the Hurt Syndicate.
Maybe it's FTR and MJF go after all three guys in the ring, including
Wardlow.
MJF.
Can Wardlow pop back up? Someone else I miss?
I don't think Wardlow will ever work with MJF ever again. Yeah, I thought they made that pretty clear. It didn't feel like a shoot.
That bridge is burned.
Or a work. Well, do you remember why he was mad?
I do.
And it wasn't because of the Pinnacle. It was because of the I'm not showing up. And it was Wardlow's big night to win the belt.
How strange was that whole thing?
Yeah, because people were talking about the plane tickets and stuff instead of Wardlow's big night.
And Wardlow was the most over wrestler in the entire company.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Missed opportunity.
And now he's just sort of gone-ish, I guess. I don't know. I don't know who else it would be. The Ops are slowly disappearing because of the Death Riders. My thought was like, how cool would it be for Shayna Baszler to join in there and have her and Marina Shafir start a tag team together, and they like release the tag belts for the women's division, and Tony Khan's like, yeah, we're finally bringing them in, and then the first challengers are Shayna Baszler. That's over. Like it's already someone's gonna die. I think it would be great if people forfeit and they just win by default because they're too scared to get in the ring. I think that would be awesome.
It would be an understandable decision. I get it.
Yes. So that could be really fun. But right now it's like, I don't know who he attacks. Hangman feels like the obvious play. You know, it would be fun. We've seen it be fun. It could be fun again. I don't know what the long-term payoff would be there though.
Right. And the Bucks are already feuding with Hangman. It seems like we're going to get to Bucks versus Hangman and Swerve. That's the ultimate match in this feud. I don't know that we should be throwing MJF in there.
Well, maybe MJF takes him out, hurts him, costs him the match, and he gets on the mic and it says, I don't like you, but I respect you. You should know that this is just business. And that's when they all give Max the thumbs up. Like that would make sense. And that feels like a direction that it would be like, all right, well, and maybe the Hurt Syndicate becomes more of a heel faction that way. Maybe that's the way to do it. Cause it does feel like, at this MJF thing, I don't know where it's going with that faction, but it does make the Hurt Syndicate feel more important because they're doing something instead of just saying it's business and beating up randos. Like they seem to have stopped recruiting.
And they're the champs, by the way.
Yes.
Where are the contenders? Are we going to get to see these guys wrestle at Double or Nothing? I certainly hope we get a tag team title match.
Well, and that's why I said like if Max just forms with somebody else, but it's not. I don't know who it is. Mm-hmm. I just don't know who it is. Yeah. Maybe they. I don't know. Like this, it's as confusing as the Big Bill stuff with Gates of Agony. Like that's all confusing too.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see what happens play out. When I was watching, I was like, I walked away with almost no questions from the show other than like, wow, why did they light that venue like that? It made it look really small.
I agree.
And it was small. It was incredibly small. I was thinking about like Collision, really Rampage, but Rampage sold out the United Center for CM Punk, 20,000 people strong to what looked like maybe 2,000 people in a narrow hall. That kind of felt like the Arizona Theater, the Financial Theater, but like with one level and just not as wide. It was a weird venue that somehow worked really well for Tony Storm. I thought that whole Tony Storm thing was great.
Everything works well for Tony Storm these days.
Her like, I don't know, from her dancing in the ring or twerking in the ring on Dynamite to Jamie Hayter's music. It's
a Bob. How could you not?
To I'm here and I'm queer out on the balcony to a bunch of confused people walking by from that little place right by the water.
She's a winner.
She's so good. She's so good. All I know is that I can't wait to see this event. I can't wait for Double or Nothing Live. Super excited for it. And I'm actually intrigued about this. Like, I don't know where it's going. I do think it's funny that The recruitment of MJF into the Hurt Syndicate is happening during the Owen. Maybe that's the homage here.
I didn't consider that.
Yeah, maybe that's
you might
maybe
be on to
that's all
something.
this is. Yeah, this might be all it is. I didn't even think about that. That's really funny. I really hope they acknowledge it at some point. But anyway, Tyler, we have a double feature this week. So we're just going to get into it. It's GI at the movies, several different things edition. So go ahead and roll the music.
And now, it's time for GI at the movies.
You know it's going to be special when we got a double feature. Okay, Brett, I saw a really fun movie entitled Sacramento. It's a 2024 American road comedy film starring Michael Angarano, Michael Cera, Kristen Stewart, and Maya Erskine. The film centers around Ricky and Glenn, two longtime yet distant friends played by Angarano and Cera. The film starts in LA before the pair take an impromptu road trip to Sacktown. Ricky recently lost his father and Cera is preparing to become a dad. The film centers around their friendship and fatherhood and manhood, and the cast is just spectacular. Admittedly, this is no longer in theaters. It popped up in my Harkins email, so I think it had a limited run around town, but now it's available streaming. I actually purchased it for rent on YouTube. So worth it. An original script. You know how I feel about this. I love when we get original films. Erskine. The moment I saw her, I said, oh my gosh, she looks familiar. By the way, I didn't realize she's married, or her partner is Angarano, who co-wrote this. So I was like, oh, connections, Hollywood. I've just been so focused on Belichick and Hudson that I didn't realize there were other Hollywood couples out here. But she's from Amazon's Mr. and Mrs. Smith. She plays the opposite to Donald Glover in that series, which I really enjoyed. I actually want to check out more of her filmography and see what else she's been in. But final reason to convince you and our listeners and viewers to check out this film. I had no idea before I rented this, Brad. I just saw the trailer and thought this looks really fun. I'm going to check it out. There's a wrestling connection. The artist formerly known as AJ Lee is in this film. AJ Mendez not only has a cameo, but is a full-blown character in this. She plays the role of Ariel, who is heavily featured in this film. I won't give away too much. There's actually even a wrestling scene with a ring and some grabs. And AJ Mendez, I forget how incredible she is and how much of a talent. She's a natural on screen. So highly recommend Sacramento. Check it out. Well worth it. Again, not in theaters anymore, at least not in Arizona, but available for rent. And I think you and our audience would really enjoy it.
I'll check it out this week then. I'll give it a try. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I'm certainly going to endeavor to try. Tyler, I too checked out a film, kind of a film. It's a documentary, but I don't know how to describe it. An elongated promo with some clips mixed in, perhaps. Karrion Kross, Killer Kross, released a documentary. It's 48 minutes long. It's free on YouTube. If you go to the link tree in Karrion Kross, I think it's at The Real Kross. His Twitter handle. It is again, it's 48 minutes long and it's awesome. There's just sort of there's a killer, there's a murderer, there has been a murder ambient hum kind of in the background through the whole thing, but it's from Vegas when he was there for WrestleMania weekend, and it's just sort of a long form sit down interview mixed with some promo in there. There's stuff where it's like trying to tell where it's work and where it's shoot. It's that line is blurred. Obviously promoting his stuff with Bloodsport and going like, these people can hurt you and I got to go in there and all this stuff. And it's like, well, yes, that is true of all wrestling. So it's kind of easy to go like, all right, well, he's selling the show and that these people are badasses, but that I think people forgot that he is. He's a boxer, I believe, by trade, and knows how to really fight, and is incredibly strong. Grew up in Las Vegas. He's from there, and it's great. Tyler, this is so good. To get Karrion Kross's work, to talk about how he said he was told to leave when he got released and come back and be undeniable. So he did. We'll get to it later, pal. Being undeniable is a lie. all of these things. And he dropped some things here. He had some great quotes. I have a few notes. He said at one point, Killer Cross almost came out. We don't let him out again. And then part of it is about Mania Weekend. Part of it is about the danger of Bloodsport, and then a lot of it is a mini biography. But I don't know if you saw the very viral quote that happened, and I'll just say bleep, so I don't have to bleep this in post. The grass is greener on the other side. Bleep that. Water your bleeping grass. Mow your lawn, okay? Get some bleeping fertilizer. We stick around. That's what I do until the grass gets really green. Or maybe I bleeping die in the weeds. I love that. He also said, I find ways to project what people want to see to create moments, right? Sometimes they don't want moments, you know? But I'm in this to create that. I learned this so I could learn how to create that. What do I do? What the bleep do I do? And then at the end, it was like he went viral over Mania Weekend as sort of like an added thing. And they included that whole post-Mania promo that he did about Logan Paul, Mania Weekend, the guy in the suit, all of that stuff. So good. If you have not checked this out, you have to check out that presser or just watch The Killer. It's 48 minutes, really riveting stuff, totally worth the watch. I didn't feel like any of it didn't need to be there. There were some points where I'm like, oh, this got a little bit slow, but it was really just him processing, and I think it needed to be there. There's some really cool stuff with interviews with Scarlett off the side, getting her separate from Cross and just having her talk. That was really cool. Cannot recommend this enough. I think big things are on the way for this dude. I think people that have been enjoying him, because you and I have been talking about him forever. His NXT run was legendary, and he brings that up. He said, you know how demoralizing it is to have people stop you in the street and say, hey, that thing you used to do was incredible, versus what you're doing now. Or have you thought about doing this? And he has to lie to them and go like, yeah, I've thought about that. Really, really tough. I thought it was humanizing. Awesome. So if you get about 48 minutes, 50 minutes, if you count load time of clicking the link and then starting it, totally worth the watch. I would check it out.
That's a must. I'm excited. And it sounds like not only that groundswell of support from the IWC, it seems like a lot of the IWC has done a complete 180 on Karrion Kross.
Well,
and
they had to. Do you remember what they did to that man?
Yeah, no, exactly.
The Roman thing they made him do?
the bondage
Good
gear.
God.
And yeah. I'm very happy. I really enjoyed his work as Killer Kross in TNA. And it just seemed like it was going to be such a natural fit for him to head over to WWE. You had Scarlett with him, that it sounds like we're really turning a corner, and only bright things are ahead for another power couple in entertainment, as it were. That's been a thread throughout this episode, Brad. I kind of like it. Okay, what did we miss? This might be the first time I'm actually tossing this up here. I got 3 notes for you. TNA Rebellion. This was last weekend from the University of Southern California. Mike Santana defeated Mustafa Ali in a fantastic Falls Count Anywhere match. I know I texted you about this. It is early match of the year candidate for me. Now, earlier in the night, Leon Slater had one of the most breathtaking Ultimate X moments I've ever seen. He jumped off of a really high post in summary and was not really caught by the 5 competitors who were waiting for him on the ground. It's a whole thing. But he also showed out in a singles match versus Casey Navarro on Impact Live last week. I think Leon Slater is the guy to dethrone Moose, and I urge TNA, I'm sure TNA Brass is listening to us. Yeah, I urge them to position Leon Slater as a centerpiece of the company. He is that dude. He is that good. And I can't wait to see him become the next X Division champion. Secondly, Skype is coming to an end after 15 years.
Wow.
Microsoft is reworking it within its team feature. This could be the biggest bag fumble in the history of bag
100%.
fumbling.
100%.
Zoom just came in and said, all right, thanks for getting this warmed up, but we got this. We got it. So that's a thing. Skype, only 15 years. Thought they've been around longer, actually, but apparently it's only been since 2010. And then finally, Brad Winchester. This could be a case of saving the best for last. Asia Wilson's highly anticipated debut sneaker drops on Tuesday at 7 a.m. via the Nike app or Nike.com. I'm setting a reminder on my phone. This will happen. I'm very excited for a new season of the W to get underway this month. And I think Asia Wilson is really going to benefit not only from Nike finally investing in her and debuting the sneaker, but also because the Aces and Asia Wilson in general, as the reigning MVP, are totally going under the radar. And I think she's going to prove people wrong for sleeping on her. So the sneaker's dope, and I think she's in line for another great season in the W.
Yeah, I'm actually setting a reminder for that too. I can't wait, man. Okay.
Let's go. Okay.
I have a few things. Big Bill beat the ever living crap out of an engineering chair in a parking lot for absolutely no reason, right before a random extra showed up and got killed by both Big Bill and the Gates of Agony out in the parking lot. AR Fox ate another pin after we talked about it last week. This man does not win. This man gets pinned in AEW. He didn't even lose the match. He took the pin. I thought that was a choice they made. And finally, on Netflix, Conan O'Brien's Mark Twain for the American Humor Award was awesome. It was really funny, but also really heartwarming. Tyler, you don't probably know this about me, but like I grew up watching the heck out of Late Night with Conan O'Brien. It was a must. It was get the rabbit ears tuned for Letterman so I could watch Conan afterward down in my basement during the summer when it was way too hot to be upstairs. I had to sleep in the basement to cool off. No air conditioning there. Like those balmy hot nights of 80 degrees, maybe at the highest, were a real struggle for us up there. I got to relive a whole bunch of my childhood watching that. The clips were great. I forgot how many things they did, and I can't believe they got away with it on TV. Absolutely awesome. I don't think I have anything else. It was a big week all over wrestling. We talked about a lot. We could go another hour just talking about releases.
Yeah, we could. And I think this is, correct me if I'm wrong, our last GI before Mother's Day. Somehow. Mother's Day next week.
Yes, it will be Mother's Day when we record the next one. Yeah.
Big shout out and happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there and all of the mother figures out there who are doing
me there.
who are doing amazing things. We love you and we appreciate you. And again, happy Mother's Day. All right, Brad, we're going to get out of here. We hope you all enjoyed this episode as much as we have. Of course, you can follow us at GIPod19 for exclusive show updates and more across the social spaces. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.